What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today in this video we're going to talk about 9 stocks in this video. So please hit that thumbs up button. That is greatly appreciated and that really helps out with YouTube algorithm. And if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, 3 days of live trading in my Discord, definitely check out the Patreon. I'll leave a link down below in the description. And if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. So here's my Twitter account, and this account here, guys, just made for YouTube subscribers. People that are not in my Discord and they always go and comment on my video. I cannot get back to those comments all the time. Twitter is the way to go. Now, I never used it before and I've been using it recently, posting a lot of things on Twitter like expected moves, charts, and especially some of my plays. And this one from this morning took live early in the morning, and if you look at it, Meta got up to exactly that level, 298, took those puts 295, and if you look at it, look at the time, 9:32 right after opening. And then what happened, guys? Forget about this 25% stop loss. This thing got decimated, not only down to 295 when in the money, over the money. This thing was down $10 and I caught the top exactly. Now the bottom I also called it, but I didn't get in because I like to keep my money. Once I make some money in the market, I like to keep it. I don't like to go and overtrade. Now I know some people took the bottom also and you made money, so these trades are available only on Patreon. You can also check that out. I'll leave a link down below in the description. But if you're on Twitter, you can definitely give me a follow right here on this page. And any questions you have, I don't have any subscription or anything that you gotta go through. This is totally free. You can ask me on Twitter. And now let's get right into it, guys. So what happened in the market today, and especially on Apple stock, it's down over 1%. Now this one also, I did not take this trade live, but I called it for my Patreon members that if you want to trade Apple, it's at a good support. Definitely this is a buying zone at 187. Go ahead and get some 190 calls. Just keep that in mind. Put a stop 20%, 25%. And if you did that today on Apple stock, exploded, guys. This thing after hitting 187, and I know especially Joe, he got it, and some of the other people in my Discord, especially the Patreon members, they got that call on Apple, and this thing exploded. And Apple pays really good, so if you got 190 or even 195 calls, you made good money on Apple stock, because after hitting 187, this thing, if you look at the 5-minute chart, went straight back up, almost up to 190. So that was a huge move on Apple stock from 187 up to 190. That is a $3 move, and this thing really pays well, so you definitely got paid. Now what happened here and why we got that bounce and why I called it, if you look at it, and we talked about it yesterday in my video, that watch out for this white line 20 SMA 187, and that is where this white line 20 SMA is sitting this morning. So 187 got a bounce off of this rising white line 20 SMA. Anytime you see a big stock like Apple coming down to white line 20 SMA, it's not going to just break it and go down and make some new lows unless there is some really bad news for Apple, which is not the case. So Apple stock got a strong bounce, almost went back up to where 189.13, almost up to 190, but not quite filling the gap at 190.24. So we still got a gap on top. And also if you look at it, this channel here on Apple stock, this uptrend still holding, and that is still holding even if there is a pullback down to 186 flat. So Apple stock is bullish, it's holding 187, and now we have seen those pullbacks before on Apple. I mean, look at all these, same move, guys, and now again we're getting that pullback. So far it's holding, but moment Apple stock takes out 187 and also takes out, I would say, 185 to 186 bottom of this channel, then more downside 183 to even 180. For now, Apple stock, we still got that gap on top, so watch out for the resistance at 190, and soon as that breaks, we could see another leg up on Apple, and that would be all the way up to 195 plus and then 200. So this chart here on Apple stock, very simple to read. You just got to be disciplined. So watch out here on Apple stock, especially this support 187 and below that, this trend line right here 185 to 186. On Amazon, stock is down 2% and finally breaking below rising white line 20 SMA, sitting close to 128. So Amazon going into tomorrow immediately needs to break 128, and if that happens, we're going to see Amazon moving and continuing that move back up to the upside. Until then, guys, Amazon stays under white line 20 SMA, then we're going to see a drop all the way down to close to 124 to this lower Bollinger Band, and that would be a strong support. And below that, we also have support almost 120 right here, rising red line 50 SMA. And like I said, Amazon needs to break 128 and also right here 129. Amazon above 128 to 129, blue line 5 SMA, will look bullish, and this run can continue to the upside. And in that case, watch out for a run all the way up to 132 to 134 to close that gap on top. On Google, stock is down 2.72%, and I got some calls around 117 this morning and still holding those slightly down on the day on those calls. But Google stock here, if you look at it, getting extremely oversold, trading below lower Bollinger Band, sitting at 117.33. So early as tomorrow, we could see Google getting a bounce above lower Bollinger Band, sitting at 117.33. And the next stop on Google stock, definitely 119.48. And the reason I'm holding those calls, I think before coming down to close this gap at 113.51, Google can possibly move higher to close this gap, and also will find a lot of resistance at 120, because now we have this trend line right here, this bull flag, and also this downtrend line from top at 120. Also, you got all these moving averages right here sitting around 120. So that's going to be a strong level, and I think Google will retest 120 and possibly will close this gap on top. And then we could see a dump off down to 113.51 unless Google stock breaks 120 and then moves up to 123 and also breaks that level. Then Google getting that bullish cross from this bull flag and moving higher all the way up to 126.58 and then 130. So watch out tomorrow in between 117 and 119.48. Google needs to hold that level. If not, this gap getting closed at 113.51 early as this week. So Google stock definitely getting oversold, and that is why I think at least in the short term we could see a bounce back up to at least 119.48, possibly up to even this gap 120. So on Meta, it's up 1.23%, and this is the stock to make money today, because this thing so far respecting and holding all the levels, and especially not getting that breakout above 300, and that puts a lot of shorts like myself to short Meta close to 300 and also buy back at 290. In this case, I actually alerted Meta at 288 that also this is a dip buying zone on Meta, and if you caught that dip early in the morning after that drop from the top, you made money both ways. Now unfortunately, like I said, I don't trade all day, so I knew exactly that this is a support I can get in, but I already made my money on puts, so I never got in here on Meta to get this bottom. Now on Meta, if you look at my screen, closing at 294, still looking strong and bullish above blue line 5 SMA 291.40, and that's gonna be a support level to watch tomorrow. To the upside above 291.40, Meta can run all the way up to 300. Below 291.40, we got support at 290, 287, 282.97, rising white line 20 SMA. So Meta definitely looking strong. We just need that breakout confirmation above 300. So this is another play that I took live in my Discord early in the morning at 329, getting some calls on Microsoft and selling out close to 332, and those are still up on the day because Microsoft pays really good. And why I got those calls, because look at this, guys, almost touching lower Bollinger Band right here at 327. So this is a dip buying zone on Microsoft, especially for a day trade, and that is why I took those. But it's not a lot of profit, 20%. But I see some people they only make 20%. Even on a big move, they only make 20%. So 20% is still a good profit. And I took that profit on Microsoft, only left I think 5 runners, and I'm still holding those runners. I forgot to sell those. So Microsoft tomorrow, guys, key level to watch 327, and now we left a huge gap open here on top. So if this thing can continue, and especially right here, why we're finding resistance around 332, and that's where we held as a support before. So now there is a resistance to break on Microsoft 332, and soon as that breaks, we could see a quick trip all the way up to not only here 336 white line 20 SMA to even this gap on top at 337, and then possibly will come down and get a correction and at least fill this gap at 316.50. I don't see this thing breaking below lower Bollinger Band and filling this gap right now. I think we will see Microsoft going back up to fill that gap on top and then possibly come down to fill this gap in the short term at 316.50. So we got support at 327, we have resistance at 332, 336, 337, the gap on top, and above 339, Microsoft heading higher all the way up to 346 to 350. On Tesla, stock is down 1.76% and not quite filling the gap all the way down to 264.45, coming down to 265 and then going right back up and closing close to 270. So Tesla here, early as tomorrow, Tesla cannot get back up above 276.58. This blue line 5 SMA, we could see Tesla filling this gap at 264.45, and that's going to be a support level to watch. And below that, we also have support, strong support at 262. Tesla will roll over below 262 and possibly will come down all the way down to 238.51 to test this lower Bollinger Band as a support, and then the gap at 235.23. To the upside, Tesla I think will fill this gap and then possibly will retest blue line 5 SMA sitting at 276.58, and if that breaks, Tesla heading higher back up to 284 and then possibly up to even 300. On AMD, this thing played out exactly like I said yesterday, that watch out if there is a pullback to this rising red line 50 SMA, which is sitting in between 109 and 110, and if that holds, there is a dip buy on AMD. And look at this move after hitting 109.88. This thing is green on the day, 0.36%, and look at this candle, guys, a lot of dip buying and now holding above 112 13 SMA on this daily chart, and that is looking bullish. Now AMD needs to break blue line 5 SMA sitting at 114, and then we also have resistance at 116.26, 118. AMD will look a lot more better above 118, and that would be a breakout, but so far it's holding and respecting red line 50 SMA sitting at 109.38, and if that gives up, more support down here around 106 to 107, and then it might be retesting lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart sitting at 103. AMD now needs to hold 112 as a support and needs to break 114, and as soon as that happens, AMD heading higher to 116 to even 118, and above 118, that's gonna be a breakout on AMD. On Nvidia, stock is down 0.76%, and Nvidia getting a bounce off of this white line 20 SMA, and if you look at my screen, slightly going under 419 but coming right back up, and again guys, holding 420 as a support into closing. So this stock would not give up, just holding above 420, that is bullish, and as long as Nvidia above 420, this thing can move higher back up to 440 and possibly up to even 450. Only on a pullback. Now Nvidia breaks under 420 and then also takes out 419 rising white line 20 SMA, and in that case we could see that drop, but only down to 400 and possibly down to 395 to close this gap all the way down here. I don't see Nvidia going much lower anytime soon, because look at this, lower Bollinger Band moved up, now sitting at 394, and this Bollinger Band will not allow Nvidia to come all the way down here to 306 anytime soon. That will need some catalyst, some bad news for Nvidia to drop all the way down here. So if you're shorting and going way out of the money on Nvidia puts, you're not going to make anything on Nvidia. Just be careful trading the stock. On Netflix is up 0.82% and getting that breakout finally and holding above 441 as a support into closing, and that is looking bullish. Now Netflix ran again all the way up to 444 and also coming down to 436, but at the end of the day it's holding 441, rising blue line 5 SMA as a support. So Netflix tomorrow, guys, if this thing can hold 441 as a support, we're going to see 450 early as tomorrow on Netflix. Below 441 we have strong support now at 432, and if that gives up, watch out for this gap down here at 420.88. and Netflix anytime breaks 450, there is gonna be tons of upside, just like we got before on this breakout. This thing ran from 409 all the way up to 450, and now if this thing breaks 450, I think Netflix can go all the way up to 500, and that's gonna happen within the next couple of weeks on Netflix. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Have a great night, everybody.